Hello, I'm John David Curry, and I want to welcome you today to our second training class on emergency evacuation. Today's lesson will be called The Detail. If you were on the distribution list for today's film and video training, that means that you volunteered to step up and to be a quad leader. First of all, I'd like to thank you so much for stepping up and being willing to take on this most important ministry in our church. Today we're going to study the detail of what it actually means to have to emergency evacuate this church. We're going to go through roles and responsibilities for the event commander, for our quadrant leaders, and we're also going to learn a few new terms such as our rally point. Once again, I want to thank you so much for being here today, for joining me, and now let's get started. First of all, I want to talk to you about a role for our event commander. What does it mean to be an event commander? It's exactly what it says. Our event commander for any emergency evacuation of this church is the sole person responsible for ensuring that we follow all of our procedures, protocols, and we correctly evacuate this church safely and quietly. The ushers will report to the event commander. The event commander will also be the interface with all of the outside responders that come and go through this church during our event crisis. The event commander will also be responsible for ensuring that everyone has exited this church safely. They are in their rally points. We'll discuss that term a little later. And that every quadrant leader has accounted for their folks and they are all in a safe rally point area. The event commander also is responsible for ensuring that everyone that has exited the church remains in those rally point areas until all is clear. Remember, the event commander is the only person that all clears this church and all parishioners that have been included in that event for them to exit and go to their cars. Everyone stays in place until that event commander says all clear. A very important job, our event commander. A very, very important job. Now let's talk briefly about our ushers who have and first responders and some others who have volunteered to be quadrant leaders. What does it mean to be a quadrant leader? A quadrant leader is going to be responsible for, upon the initiation by the event commander, that there is a need to evacuate the church. The quadrant leaders will then go to their assigned areas, their assigned quadrants, and they will proceed to evacuate the church through the approved egress areas that we are going to establish today. Note, it is important for quadrant leaders to be totally familiar with their surroundings, totally understand their job responsibilities in order that they can maintain composure and help to execute their jobs effectively with the least amount of trouble. Remember, in times of crisis, people are looking to those that they trust in order to feel safe for what they need to do. Therefore, it is very important that our quadrant leaders demonstrate that exact assurance that they know what they're doing and how to do it in order to effectively evacuate the church. There is one other point that I want in definition that I want to make clear to our quadrant leaders and our event commanders. That is a term called rally point. Rally point is that area outside of this church, approximately 500 feet away from any structure, that is a safe area for people to assemble and stay during the entire event until the event commander says all clear. Remember, rally point, rally point. With that said now, with a few definitions and explanations, we're going to go walk through each quadrant again, specifically looking at those egress paths which best suit that quadrant. For our purposes today, our scenario is this. We're going to assume that we have a fire that has broken out in the mechanical equipment room. The evacuation manager at that particular Mass has initiated an all evacuation from to the exterior of the church, and his motion for his quad leaders to take their positions and to execute egress effectively. Come follow me. Quadrant 1. Let me make one note here. It is important that all of our quad leaders learn and understand how to effectively egress each quadrant in the event you may be assigned at one particular Mass to oversee a quadrant that is not normally assigned to you. So let's pay close attention. Fire has been initiated. The event commander has given the signal to evacuate the church. The Quadrant 1 leader has gone to his quadrant to evacuate the church. You will notice the egress and paths are very good through here. So the most probable path for this quadrant to take is outside this door, exiting 500 feet to the rally point with the entire group, starting with this row, moving through this rows, and then starting here and moving back to approximately halfway through the church, which would be the aisle that's in line right across from the exit to the sacristy. You notice we have clear paths of exit. Once again, it is extremely important that this quadrant leader understands the role and is able to convey that role to each parishioner that's in their quadrant. Remember, the more confident you are in your job, the more people are going to trust you, accept what you tell them with the least amount of resistance. Quadrant 1. Let's move across to Quadrant 2. Quadrant 2 is very much the same egress path. We have an exit door here. We have good walkways, good egress paths all the way around these areas. So this will be the egress path that Quadrant 2 would want to take, starting with the choir loft and moving, as I said, through those rows halfway back to where the sacristy entrance is. Remember, 500 feet to your rally point, and you will keep all of your parishioners in your quadrant together until you have an all clear from the event commander. I will repeat this over and over again. It is extremely important that everyone in your quadrant stays with you in your rally area, rally point, until your event commander says all clear. Quadrant number 2. Let's move back here to quadrant number 3. Quadrant number 3 runs approximately from the exit through the sacristy back to the back of this wall. Quadrant 3 could be a little tricky because it would be normal operation for you to think, well, we're going to exit out this door outside. That could propose some problems, especially in the event that we have incoming, which we will have, incoming first responders coming to our site. So the egress path that we would like for Quadrant 3 to take is to exit their parishioners through this sacristy door and outside this door. You would then turn to your left and take your rally point 500 feet out in the churchyard. It's clear, it's less distractive, and it allows that open space for our first responders to have as much free, easy access to our church as possible. Let's move over to Quadrant 4 now, which is directly across from Quadrant 3. Remember, If we are evacuating this church for an event, that means that we have summoned first responders for help. So therefore, we bear in mind, we have narthex full of people, we have chapels full of people, so we want to think about the best way to get Quadrant 4 safely and securely out of the church. So what we are going to recommend that we do for Quadrant 4 is we're going to take Quadrant 4 and we're going to walk them right through this door and outside the chapel door, along with those folks in the chapel, through this door, and out to our safe area down to the back of the church through our soccer field, exiting through this gate here. We will also use this approach for the chapel, Quadrant 5. We'll also exit with Quadrant 4 and we'll stay in that rally point with Quadrant 4. Now let's move to Quadrant 6. Quadrant 6 and Quadrant 7 provide us our greatest opportunity and our greatest challenges as far as effectively and safely evacuating the church. The majority of our exits and entrances to St. Thomas are through our narthex. So that lends us for the opportunity to have a great congestion problem, remembering that while we have folks exiting our church, we also will have first responders trying to enter our church to assist us in the ways that they need to assist us. So what we are going to do is we're going to use some other doors other than these main doors to egress Quadrant 5. If you will look through our choir room, you will see that we have an exit outside to a rally point down behind the church. Let's walk through it. Quadrant 5 would begin to exit with these rows, walking right through here, out this exit door, you would also exit to your right and safely remove yourselves to your rally points down in the back of the church towards the soccer field as well. You will notice that you have clear walking paths through this door and you have clear walking paths to exit down to your rally points. So remember, Quadrants 4, Quadrants 5, Quadrant 6, and Quadrant 7, under desired conditions, will all exit to the rear of the sanctuary down to the lower level in a very safe rally point. Once again, you'll remain there until the event commander gives an all clear. Now let's look at Quadrant 7, our last quadrant. Let's remember again that we have first responders on our way. So we want to leave these main doors as free and open as possible for our first responders to safely enter the building so they can do their job. So what we want to do with Quadrant 7 here, we want to begin to exit these folks through these double doors, and as I said before, they will also go to a rally point down below in the back of the church using these double doors here. The second phase of Quadrant 7, we want you to use these door here, this door here, and you will exit the same way to the same location of rally point down below. Remember, these two areas lend us to have the highest congestion area and the highest possibilities to have problems. So therefore it is extremely important that our quadrant leaders back here show great due diligence in leading and guiding effectively out these egress doors. This concludes our training class today called The Detail on how to effectively egress our sanctuary in narthex in the event that we had an event crisis and had to evacuate. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your willingness to step up and to help out with this most important ministry. Of course, we all hope that we never have to use this in our sanctuary, but as you know as well as I do, we've got to be prepared at all times. Safety and security is our top priority, and it's your priority as well. Once again, thank you so much for being with me today. God's blessings. If you have any questions, want to discuss it, please feel free to reach out and contact me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.